Hello folks, Corvus here. So we have another update. June 2021 update for Diablo 4. We are going to check that out today. First of all, we have this high contrast image here of Lilith, just the silhouette. And this is possibly telling us that the team is maybe making more art. We'll see. Alright, so just like the other times, we have some words from Luis Barriga, the game director. He's telling us that the team is hoping that we enjoyed the class announcement for the Rogue during the BlizzCon Online, and that they intend to show different parts of the development process. In this case, they are going to focus on character art, player characters, monsters, and allies. So a lot of art this time. Alright, he's pointing out the importance of visual effects and animations for the overall experience. And he's basically excited of how well it looks. We'll be the judge of that, of course. He's also mentioning that each class should have a feel that it's unique to each one, and that it should be recognizable by its own. However, they do want to add some versatility and personality to each character. So this is basically you're going to be able to make the character your own. Mix and match styles, hairstyles, floats, colors. So you can customize it to your liking. Alright, and he is also hinting away that in the next update we're possibly going to be seeing something about sound design and endgame systems. Good news, so if they are looking into endgame systems, my guess is that the development is going just fine. Good news for us, definitely. So after that, John Mueller, the art director, is giving us some information. And they are opening with this Lilith image. Let me make that big. Alright, so right away, what I can say is that she looks incredibly badass. And we have some description below the image. Let's see what that's about. Our beautiful and iconic Helping Lilith. This is a capture from one of the in-game cinematics rendered in the Diablo 4 game engine. This level of detail is now standard for how we present major NPCs, classes, and monsters in Diablo 4. Alright, so if this is the in-game cinematics, they are going to be badass. And I mean, this is no surprise. Blizzard is very good with cinematics. But if this somehow translates into how the game is going to look, it's gonna me excited actually, because it looks really good. I mean, they are managing the light and the feel in game quite good. I mean, you can almost feel the atmosphere with this image, and it's just a still image. So once we see this in motion, it's going to be much better, I believe. Alright, and we're also going to hear from the lead character artist, Arnold Kotelnikov, sorry about the pronunciation there, and the associate character art director, Nick Celano. They are going to be sharing visuals from the ongoing development related to character art, and this is the first time that they are revealing this, of course. This is supposed to be an early look, so they are very afraid to say that anything could be final or close to that. And also they are making emphasis that they are waiting to hear from us. The game is in our hands. So if something is just not well received by the community, they are very willing to change it. He's also telling that the development of the characters and its art has been an epic journey. He's not saying why exactly, he's just cheering for his team. And well, quite possibly it has to do with the pandemic and all the difficulties involved with that, because for everyone in its own way has been a difficult time. So that's understandable. He's also saying that the intent for the characters is to be as artistic as possible, and also they want to make them feel handcrafted. So basically, they want to make you feel that your character is unique. This will be something different from Diablo 3, because at the end of the day, a lot of characters basically just look the same. Sometimes the only thing that makes them stand out from each other is that they are using a different class, or that the armor it's dyed on a different color. But it's not unusual to be playing with 3 more people using the same class, maybe the same armor, and there's that feeling of uniqueness is lost. So I'm guessing they are trying to do something on that regard. Okay, so we have an example here. You can choose from a variety of personas and customize them with a slew of detail options during character creation. Okay, so let's look this in detail. Okay, so we have basically the same class here. It's the very same model. The skin tones are different, so that right away makes them feel a little bit different. The hairstyles, at least 3 of them seems to be the same, but with different colors. So you will be able to change the color of the hair, change the color of the skin, add, it seems, maybe different kind of markings on the skin. In this case, the 4 characters have the very same scars, but maybe you will be able to choose between them. I guess that's going to be an option. And definitely other kind of markings, like this face painting, it's going to be able to change. And the very last character seems to have some kind of makeup, so at the very least you're going to be able to change hairstyles, hair color, the color of the skin, and some kind of markings on your character's skin. Also showing that the armor and the equipment can change colors. Okay, he's also saying something about the level of detail that it's involved in the process, and that they are working on the materials, skin, cloth, hair, for metal, to appear real. Okay, he's also saying something about body types, so at the very least I'm guessing that you are going to be able to choose between a thin, normal, or robust character. Okay, they are also saying that they are working on the level of detail on different materials. So skin, cloth simulation, hair, for metal, and even the highlights of the eyes and rivulets of perspiration. So the game is going to look good from what I can hear here. He's also saying that they are injecting a lot of love and care into the creation of gear and characters. So this is actually, I mean, you can make a lot of jokes about that, but when you actually give your all to something, to a project, and you do that with care and love, and I think more importantly, a passion, it shows. And I think it's been transmitted here in these images. I think that it's showing that the team cares, and I think that it's going to be a big part of the game. Okay, this image reads, "We call this our lair scene. Players will customize the look of the characters here in our exciting new wardrobe system that allows you to mix and match hundreds of armor components unique to your class, alongside custom color palettes to create the class fantasy that best represent your character. So, from what I understand, this will be your wardrobe, and you will be spending some time here. I'm guessing this is absolutely in-game, it has to be. And the character looks quite awesome. I mean, it doesn't seem to be like just a capture from a still image. There's a lot of detail, and I don't know if they are mixing still images with 3D. It seems that way. I don't know if this is just for show, but it looks quite amazing. I mean, if the background is actually 3D, they are using some kind of blue effect that does the work. Okay, so maybe they are going to be using some kind of still image on the background to make that impression of depth, along with some effects. The foreground, or at least this kind of tent, it seems to be 3D a lot more than the back. And the character, of course, 3D. So this is probably a barbarian. He seems like a barbarian. And the detail of the armor, it looks quite good. I mean, all what he was talking about, it shows here. The cloth seems like cloth. The difference in the patterns here shows even how they reflect the light. The metal parts of the armor can be identified right away as metal. The skin, how it reflects the light. I mean, it seems that even this character is not just sweating. The perspiration, it's kind of present. You can even get like a hint here of a vein. Of course, the muscles and how it uses the shadows. I mean, just look at how this piece of armor on its face, it's casting this shadow here. And they are even adding some kind of blur here to this arm. If you focus on the center of the character, it's completely in focus. And this arm seems to be just a little bit out of focus, just like forcing depth here in a good way. So it looks just amazing. And also the color palette is it's cohesive. This character belongs there, and it shows. Really amazing. The art team is doing a very good job. Okay, and we have another image. So maybe each class is going to have his unique wardrobe place. It makes sense, and it's I think it's a very good choice, because if you do this right away, it gives a little extra something to the class. You are not just in the same place, so each character will be a little different. So in this case, I'm guessing it's the sorceress, and yeah, you can pretty much think that it's kind of the same. The background, at least from the middle of the screen, from the horizon up, seems to be maybe like a still image. Maybe it's just 3D with a very nice blur effect. And the foreground seems to be modeled, seems to be 3D. Yeah, I mean, more kind of markings, and we are seeing the materials, the shadows, the perspiration. Man, it looks quite awesome. Okay, so the cinematics on the story are going to be rendered in the game engine, but also pre-rendered, so they have a high fidelity. I'm guessing they are planning on this mainly for the people that it's going to struggle a little bit with the system requirements. So if they don't have like the very best machine, they are not going to rely on the system to make it look good. They want it to look good regardless of that, so you have a good experience. Okay, he's also saying that the Rogue announcement trailer was created entirely in the game engine. Okay, and we have another image here. We have a character there with his mount looking into a valley or something like that. And we have the same kind of blur effects on the back. Maybe this is just some kind of effect, and those previous screens that we were seeing are all 3D and no kind of still images tricks. We'll have to wait and see, but it looks very nice. I really want to play this game. Okay, he's saying that the team is excited about how things look up close, but that ultimately the isometric point of view is what it's all about. That level of detail and how the camera in-game works is built around that. So yeah, if they detect that something is not reading easily from that isometric point of view, they will do something about it. They are trying to find that sweet spot, so you can read the image without any kind of difficulty, work with environment, but also look good in a cinematic or in another kind of situation. Alright, so right now we have some words from Arnold Kotelnikov. Sorry about that last name again. The lead character artist. Okay, he's confirming you are going to be able to change the face of your character, the hairstyle, the facial hair, that's beards and eyebrows, jewelry, nose piercings, earrings, makeup, body markings, such as tattoos, body paint. You will also be able to change color values of your character's skin, eyes, hair, facial hair, body markings. And some elements will be class specific. He's not saying what in particular, but they are going to mix and match as much as they can, so you can customize your character as much as possible. And he's going to share some of the challenges the team has faced so far. Physically based rendering, or PBR, and it's basically about how the materials look and react to light. They need to make sure that the material is going to look good even if it's on a dark dungeon or on a clear day. So they had some kind of struggle with that. Basically, this is telling us that they are not used to this kind of work. But the way the materials work is dynamic. It's more realistic than it was before. So ultimately, this is going to give them the flexibility to add more kind of environments. And since all the work for the materials and how they react and how they interact with the light and the environment, it's already done. It's going to be ultimately easier to expand the game. Expanding the die system, so you are going to be able to change the color palette of your armor pieces. He's mentioning changing silver to gold or replacing white cloth for a black cloth, etc. And this is he's also mentioning that this concept of PVR or physically based rendering does not allow just to select any kind of colors. So I'm guessing some kind of materials need to be more realistic. I mean, some materials are just not going to work with any kind of color. You cannot just pick gold material, metal, and try to make it pink right away and expect that to work with all the environments. So maybe they are going to be more conservative on those kind of materials that you cannot really just paint any color you want. So maybe you're going to be seeing the changes like we're seeing here, more on the cloth and other kind of materials. Okay, the metal has to look like metal. If you just put any kind of color on it, it could start looking funky. And ultimately, this won't help the game because it will look like it's supposed to be. So in this case, the metal, it's going from silver to gold, and I thought I saw some kind of copper on the sides. Yeah, there. Yeah, and it looks real. So yeah, probably for the best. And from the examples that I'm getting here, I mean, there are some colors that are just not right up my alley, but the colors seems believable in how they interact with the materials. So the team is making a very good job. Here's an example of the barbarian with various dye palettes applied to his armor set. Okay. An example of the sorcerer's armor set dyed with 3 different color palettes. So let's see this up close. So that's one. That's 2. That's 3. Alright, he's mentioning here the game camera. He's telling us that the character needs to look good in different ways. I mean, when we're playing this classic isometric view, but also social scenes, real-time cinematics, when you zoom on the character. So they are adding an extra layer of texture called detail mapping. What is that? It's supposed to be a repetitive texture applied on top of the material that brings more sharpness and detail to the main texture. They're probably just going to be using that extra mapping information for cutscenes or places where you are going to see more detail. So they are probably just going to add this kind of extra information for places of the game where you want to have more detail. But subtract that from fight scenes and the most general game experience, so the game can run better. Okay, every armor set in Diablo has 2 body types. Here's an armor set for the barbarians with some subtle differences between the 2. Okay. This reads to me like male and female. I don't know. We should be getting something else. But yeah, it's like the same armor, and of course the female is not going to be showing her breasts, so that makes sense, but okay. Another example of different rogue body types wearing the same armor set. Okay, so this is probably the very same armor set. I think it's easier to see on the same sex. I mean, I think both of these are male, but the one on the right is a little bit more slender. Okay, we're going to see a video about how materials react to light. He's reminded us that this is a work in progress. Alright, let's see the video. Okay, so we have different kind of materials and armors, colors here. But I think that the amazing thing about this is that it's showing how they react with the lights and how different kind of even weapons are casting shadows that are so defined on the characters. They don't look clunky or blurry, or they look really good. And also the sweat on the skin of the characters looks quite realistic. The materials also, I mean, you can tell right away the difference between metals and cloth reflecting light. Also when the light has some kind of tone, how the material absorbs that light, it's very effective. The game is starting to look very good, man. Very good. Ooh, look at that. Okay, look at the detail of the sweat and muscles and the veins on the arm. The weight of the armor. The shadow that it's being cast from the armor to the neck. How the fur moves. And even the expressions of the characters. They are tough. They do look like barbarians. And they are making such great work. You can feel the weight of the character, the weight of the weapons. I really hope that video cards will be available and with a reduced price before this game launches, because I'm guessing that to take the full benefits of all the work the team is making, you're going to need a good video card, and right now they are just way overpriced and hard to get. This is just scratching the surface of what's to come in Diablo 4. So if this is just scratching the surface, man, I'm just so excited. I mean, I even got goosebumps. It's looking very good, man. And finally, Nick Celano, Associate Art Director. Okay, and he's going to tell us about monsters. He's saying that success requires that many different things come together to make good monsters. First of all, you need to be satisfied when you actually kill it. So they need to match visually the gameplay, and they have to have a gory, demonic twist to them. That also the monsters need to have a certain level of detail, and they need to have an understanding of how the gameplay is going to work. We're going to see the Blood Bishop. The team wanted to double down on the notion of a heart shape for the function of the blood magic. I mean, he's using some concepts here that maybe are very familiar with the team, but not to us. But that sounds exciting. I mean, I'm all into that. And these heart-shaped functions led naturally to arteries creating blood clots that explode, casting the AoE effect design needs. Unexposed beating heart was a natural visual choice. Organic pulse, flowing arteries, blood-based VFX. Okay, not seeing a lot of heart shape here, but it definitely looks fleshy and gory and slimy and interesting. Okay, now I can see the heart shape a little bit more. Yeah, it looks kind of frightening. I mean, you can see, you can almost know how it will feel to just touch it. Okay, so from what we saw on those still images, the heart shape is apparent only on the back. If this is the level of detail of something that it's not complete, it looks very nice. Definitely looking forward to see this in game. Okay, so we caught an interesting frame here, at least to me. Game is busy, so I don't know what else they were doing, but apparently just for a second there the game was struggling to process the information. I don't know if they were just seeing this model spinning around with the shadows or what else, but some hardware was struggling apparently. Interesting to see. A detail of the character back and how it's like pumping blood, I guess, something like that. It looks so much better moving. I don't know if this is just going to be like a regular monster. They didn't say anything about this being a boss, but if they are making a fight based on him, I'm guessing this is going to be one of the bosses. And it looks a little bit frightening. I mean, if this thing is going to be moving towards you, hunting you, trying to kill you. But I love the vibe, I love the feeling, the atmosphere. Awesome. Okay, just like before, they are trying to balance the level of detail and also how it translates to other parts of the game. The fighting, the zoom scenes, the cinematics. And he's showcasing a spider feeding upon a breathing spider spawn from a bloated corpse that has a great visual design. So, a lot of detail. Everything is like sweaty. It's with this still images, I mean, we're getting a lot of detail, but it's not very clear what we're seeing. It's until we see the video that it becomes very evident. Okay, so this one is interesting. It seems like the spider transformed into some kind of gory backpack, and it's managing the corpse. Also, the face or the head of the spider is merging with the face, or where the face of the body was supposed to be. It's kind of clunky just seeing it like this, but maybe once we are able to see this attacking us and moving, it will make more sense. Right now it's just like, can you please make a backpack in this shape? I would buy it, definitely. Okay, also this we have another example here, Succubus, another great example of interesting and clear visual read from gameplay. Finer details that don't get in the way of camera, but really raise the visual bar. Okay, so let's see the still images first. Oh, she looks real nice. I mean, that glowing in the eyes, the wings seems to be translucent, the materials. I really hope that you can get like a Sukufu's pet. Yeah, the vibe is amazing. Okay, I hope we get to see a little bit more on the video. Okay, overall I like this model very much. I'm not so sure about the second hands at the end of the wings. They seems to be like overkilled, and also I don't know if you noticed, but there seems to be some kind of extra rotation at the base of these arm wings that comes from the back of the head. That they seems to be a little bit clunky. The movement is just not like going up and down. It seems to be rotating way too much. I don't know how to explain. Please let me know if this is just me, if this looks so like weird, like forcing too much the rotation to move the wings up and down. I don't know. I mean, it's work in progress, but maybe they can see into that. But the level of detail, it's awesome. I mean, looking forward to meet her. Basically, they are saying that they are creating, making sure that the characters are easy to read. It doesn't matter if you are killing them, if it's a cutscene, if it's a zoom scene, if it's a cinematic. They want them to read good and look good, and they want the materials to react realistically. And even if you change the colors of your armors, they want them to look good. They want a cohesive look overall, and they want an increased level of quality. Okay, we have another video here about a knight covered head to toe in metal and fabric. Okay, this character is basically just not moving. He's making like a little tiny movement with his arms. But we get to see what they are talking about. And yeah, the bracer seems to be way better here in the video, so maybe the still image was not reflecting the level of quality. Okay, here I'm mentioning that the organic surfaces are also represented accurately in the game engine. For bone, flesh, blood are going to react to light in the right way. And they know that these materials are going to be important. So let's see. Okay, I'm getting the impression that still images are not fair for the game. Or you don't know exactly what you're looking for in the image. What part of what kind of monster is this? I'm pretty sure that it's going to make a lot more sense once it's moving here. Yeah, it feels more organic, even if it's doing the same movement over and over again. it looks alive and it looks scary. And you can understand what parts are fur, what parts are muscle, and yeah, it makes sense. Okay, we're almost at the end. He's telling us that they are trying to get a response from the players, and I think they are on the right path. I mean, if you see this creature and the succubus and the corpse with the spider bag, they are scary. Even the other two bosses, like characters, this skeleton lord and the blood bishop. I think that you are going to be scared of them, at least at the beginning, that they are making the job right. They belong there, and they will give you a hard time. They mean business. They they look amazing. I mean, I'm very glad that the Diablo team is making this kind of progress, even with the pandemic and all the struggles of this past year and beyond that. It's just amazing. I'm very glad to see where this is going. And with this information, we know that we're not going to be seeing this game during 2021. It's hard to imagine that this will be releasing in 2022, especially since we don't have any kind of news of like an alpha or something like that. So my guess right now will be released summer 2023, something like that. Hopefully sooner. Hopefully during 2022. But this year, I don't think so. It's very unlikely. Alright, folks, thank you very much for sticking with me. This was a long video, but we got a lot of information and we know how it's going to look for some of the characters and some of the monsters, and it's looking great. What are your thoughts? Please let me know. Thank you for watching. If you subscribe, thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.